It's mid-December in 1994. A young woman in her very early 20s takes the stage at Tsinghua University in Beijing. She's performing a solo on an ancient Chinese stringed instrument called a guqin. When her rendition comes to an end, she stands, quickly bows and exits stage right. Zhuling is an accomplished member of the university's orchestra, as well as a nationally successful competitive swimmer and one of the top students in her chemistry degree. But by the Lunar New Year on January 31, Zhuling's once bright future will be in tatters. Not long after that performance at Tsinghua University, Zhuling began complaining of a bellyache. Within days, all her hair would fall out. She was rushed to hospital in excruciating pain, but doctors couldn't pinpoint what was causing it. Some speculated she'd been inadvertently exposed to toxic chemicals through her chemistry studies, but university teachers and administrators said students in Zhuling's course didn't work with any substances that could inflict that kind of harm. As her condition slowly improved, Zhuling returned home to recuperate with her parents and sister. Feeling well enough, she returned to Tsinghua in February. But just a week into the new semester, the mystery illness struck again. This time, it was worse. The pain was too much to bear, and Zhuling fell into a coma. Still, doctors had no answers. They ran tests and administered transfusions, 8 of them, in a bid to curb the affliction. Nothing worked. Zhuling was in a downward spiral. That same year, a newfangled system called the Internet arrived in China, but only select universities and research institutes could get online. Peking University was one of them. A high school friend of Zhuling was a student there at the time, and it gave him an idea. Bei Zhizhang asked his roommate, another Peking University student, to post an SOS about her condition on the web.
这里是中国北京，一个年仅21岁的女孩身患重病，正处于死亡的边缘。
Within hours, hundreds of doctors, scientists and medical experts sent their diagnoses via email. And there was a theme. About a third of them suspected Zhuling was suffering from thallium intoxication. Among them was Canberra pathologist Dr. Ted MacArthur, who recommended Zhuling's hair and urine be tested for the substance. Thallium is a heavy metal used in insecticides and rodent poisons. It's tasteless but lethal. Less than 1 gram can end the life of an adult human in horrific fashion. Again, doctors suspected Zhuling had been inadvertently exposed to the toxic chemical during class. Again, the university denied it. Not that it mattered. Peking Union Medical College Hospital didn't have the facilities to run a thallium intoxication test at the time, and they were happy enough taking the university's word for it. But Zhuling's friend Bei Zhizhang wasn't satisfied. At his urging, test samples were sent to a thallium intoxication expert at the Beijing Occupational Disease Institute. The machines lit up. Zhuling's body contained levels of thallium thousands of times higher than that of a regular person. She had been poisoned. Experts recommended that Zhuling be treated with a dye called Prussian blue.
The worldwide prescription paid off. After 5 months in a coma, Zhuling has now regained consciousness. In Los Angeles, Susan Campos, Fox News.
But when she finally woke from her coma in 1996, Zhuling was a shadow of her former self. Multiple organ failures had left the 23-year-old severely disabled and almost blind. Her mental capacity resembled that of a child aged around 6 or 7 years. Her ageing parents, who would be her primary carers for the rest of her life, came to refer to Zhuling's ordeal as the incident. With accidental exposure ruled out due to the fact that there were no other recorded cases of thallium intoxication at Tsinghua University or elsewhere in Beijing, a far more sinister question emerged. Was Zhuling intentionally poisoned, not once, but twice? And if so, why?
Chinese students have used the internet to save a life. In the process, they not only solved a medical mystery, they also uncovered a murder plot.
A police investigation focused on Zhuling's university roommate and fellow chemistry student, Sun Wei. There'd been rumblings that Sun Wei was jealous of Zhuling's social life and romantic prospects. But a lack of evidence saw the case closed in 1998, and Sun Wei was never charged with a crime. It's been suggested her family connections to China's political elite made police reluctant to dig any deeper. Almost 30 years after she first fell ill, Zhuling died on December 2022. She was aged 50. Her passing has reignited interest in her harrowing tale and thrown up fresh questions about Sun Wei's alleged involvement. Now, answers could be much closer than previously thought. Because in yet another twist, those campaigning for justice for Zhuling believe Sun Wei has resurfaced in a sleepy Australian town. That's after the break. Sun Wei has always denied she played any part in Zhuling's poisoning. Curiously though, it emerged she did have access to thallium through the chemistry course she attended at Tsinghua University with Zhuling. That's a direct contradiction to the university's repeated assertions that students in that course didn't deal with highly toxic chemicals. Still, having been cleared of wrongdoing by police in Beijing, Sun Wei left China for the United States in the late 90s. But suspicion would follow her there.
It's been 19 years since Tsinghua University student Zhuling was poisoned with a chemical that left her paralyzed and brain damaged. And now there are new calls for an investigation to find out who's responsible. But the leader Chinese citizens are appealing to is far away from the mainland.
US officials said they could understand the concerns of the more than 150,000 people who'd signed that petition, but the White House declined to act on their demands. In any case, the activists got what they wanted. In time, Sun Wei would leave America too. These days, some members of Australia's Chinese community believe she goes by Jasmine.
The first evidence of Jasmine's presence in Australia goes back to about 2014 when she purchased 3 properties in Quakers Hill in New South Wales. And she sold those properties in 2021 and picked up a $1.5 million profit.
Liam Mendes is a reporter with The Australian.
And now she's settled down with her family in the picturesque Nelson Bay, where she and her husband Ringo they still own multiple properties, including a holiday rental.
Liam recently travelled to the region.
Jasmine and her husband, Ringo, moved to Port Stephens in 2017 and they've made it their home. They're very well liked in the community, but the accusations against Jasmine from back in China up until now were a very well-kept secret. I spoke to her friends and other members of the community who know her, and many were shocked to hear what she was accused of. However, the story of what has happened since we started asking questions has really spread quite quickly within the community.
The high-profile nature of Zhuling's case means it was only a matter of time before Jasmine Sun's whereabouts became common knowledge among those who followed it.
So this is a massive cold case in China, and it erupted again when Ling passed away in December. There are literally millions of people closely watching this story on Chinese and Western social media. And there's this army of people online targeting individuals who have personal and business dealings with Jasmine, urging them not to associate with her, with the aim of putting pressure on Jasmine to return to China and face further questioning and potentially prosecution.
As far as Jasmine's concerned, that won't be happening anytime soon.
So I had a 15-minute conversation with Ringo. He's made it clear that Jasmine doesn't want to speak. He doesn't want to speak either. And they really want privacy and to move on with their life.
A group of Chinese Australian activists have now launched a petition of their own, demanding that Jasmine Sun's visa status be investigated and calling on Australian immigration authorities to deport her. But that may not be enough for Chinese authorities to reinvestigate. Back in 2013, when Zhuling supporters were petitioning to have Sun Wei thrown out of the United States, Chinese police defended their original investigation, adding that the passage of time and scant evidence meant it's unlikely they'll reopen the case. Still, Zhuling's parents, now aged in their 80s, hold some hope justice will be done.
Quite understandably, that they're obviously heartbroken. It's been just under a month since their daughter passed away. It's horrifically sad. They have been through 30 years where they've had to look after their daughter, and they've been left with a lot of questions and not many answers. And so you can see why they're so desperately trying to go after the one person who they think might be able to answer some of those questions.
Liam Mendes is a reporter with The Australian. You can read that story right now at theaustralian.com.au.